Hey, how you doing? Today I'm going to show you how I made these water spitting tiki totems. These guys are inspired by the ones outside the Jungle Cruise at Walt Disney World. As with all my projects, I like to start by getting some good reference images. I then go into Adobe Illustrator and do some simple outline drawings. This is really helpful because then I can print them out full size and cut them out to have a pattern to work off throughout the project. I use these patterns to trace all 5 tikis onto one piece of 1/4" plywood, as you can see here, and then I cut them all out using a jigsaw. Once they were all cut out, I went in with some coarse sandpaper just to knock off the splinters around the edges. And then it is time to go ahead and draw on all the details. I'm going to be using a Sharpie for this, also using that pattern that I mentioned before. I was able to cut it into pieces and use that to help me get all the faces drawn on correctly. Once all of the details were drawn on, it was time to carve them into the wood. Now the best tools to use for this would be a router. However, I don't have one with me here at home, but I do have a Dremel and it has this adapter that came with it that's meant to make it into a router. So I thought I'd try it out and it worked pretty good. All you do is put it on like this and you're good to go. I'm just using it to carve out the basic outline in most spaces as well as the eyes, but you could use your Dremel or whatever to get as detailed with the carving as you like. I also wanted to rough the wood up a bit to make it look more aged like they do in the parks, even though those ones aren't real wood. For this, I just used a chisel and just scraped all over. Now, for the water spitting feature, I was originally going to use this mist cooling kit here. It's basically a hose that you plug into your hose with all these mist nozzles, but this didn't work, so we're just going to put that to the side. And I got all these sprinkler parts instead, and I'm hoping I can make it work. The first thing I do is use that Dremel again to drill out the holes where I want the water spitters to be. And then I push in these little connectors. To connect all the connectors, I use some 1/4" vinyl tubing meant for outdoor sprinklers. And I keep the tubing in place using a staple gun. Just be careful here that the staples do not go through the tubing. We just want to clamp it down to the wood. Each one of these guys gets a slightly different setup, however they all end up getting one vinyl tube that runs down to the bottom that will hook up to the water. Now that they are all built, it is time to start aging them up. I'm going to be using a basic chemical stain made with vinegar and still wool. You basically just dissolve the still wool into the vinegar, making this rusty liquid. When you paint this onto the wood, as it dries, this chemical reacts with the tannins in the wood, turning them gray to brown to black, depending on the wood that you're using. And if it doesn't come out as dark as you would like it to, you can first paint either some tea or coffee on the wood, let that dry, and then paint your chemical stain and it'll come out even darker. Once complete, the wood will have a much darker aged look, as you can see here, and it is time to start painting. I'm basing the colors off of the Leaky Tikis at Disney World, like I said before, but you are welcome to decorate yours however you wish. I just used plain acrylic paints and they held up pretty well. I had these guys outside for at least a solid month and the color held up very nicely. Once the paint does dry, I go in with some coarse sandpaper and scrape some off just to make it look a little bit more aged. And then I also use some dark green and brown paint just to make it look like there's some algae growing on it. Now these guys are complete, so it's time to take them outside and install them. Oh look, we're outside now. What a beautiful day. Don't these guys look so incredible? I can't tell you how fun it is to be swimming in the pool with them squirting on you like that. It's like you're in the Jungle Cruise. So fun. Alright, so first up we got this guy, Mr. Chunky. He's got the 2 misters shooting out of his nose. And here you can see that is how he is set up on the back. Now you can't see it super well on camera, but it is super cool in person and it always has a rainbow. Now there's this guy, looks like a condom kind of. He's got one shooting out the top and one out of his mouth. Let's go around the back and I'll show you how it works. See, he's got the T connector there and that travels upward. Originally had a mister here, but it did not work, so I just put this little L connector here, and now it's shooting up the tip. How fun. Then there's this guy. He's either got really cool water laser vision or he's just real sad, and this is how he looks on the back. Lastly, we have my favorite one. He's got one spin out the mouth and one out the top. How fun. Now let's head in the jungle and look how they're all connected. Oh, sorry, just let me move these bushes out of the way. Oh, here we are. Oh, look, got this little pedestal here. This statue behind me was originally on him, but he's really heavy, so I just moved him right there. So basically, it all starts right there at that hose on that wall. The hose then goes across the house, over there. The hose is out right now so you can see it, but normally it's hidden in the rocks and stuff. Yeah, anyway, you know. So I left it out so you can see, and then it runs over here in the flower bed. Really cool. And then here we have my masterpiece. Okay, please don't come for me if you're like a plumber or a professional sprinkler installer. I know this isn't right, it should not be leaking this much, but it does work, and I never leave it on for that long. But basically what we got the water hose, and it is attached to this thing with this gold water hose to water hose connector, a female to female one. And then it connects to this little elbow joint, which turns that size connector into a smaller size connector, which then connects to this UFO top thing that splits it off into 8 different 1/4-inch vinyl tubing things. I don't fully know what I'm talking about. This is what it looks like. I am so sorry I'm not able to explain it better. I truly have no idea what I was doing here, but it did indeed end up working. Each of these tubes then runs up the back of each of the tikis right there. Bada bing, they're done. I hope you guys like them, because I love them. If you want to see me make more cool stuff like this, make sure to subscribe. I do stuff like this all the time. And if you're really into the tiki stuff, make sure to go back to my last several videos, because I did some more really fun stuff from Adventureland, and I also trapped my friends in an escape room, which I personally think is the most fun video I've ever done, so please go watch it. Thank you again so much for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you real soon.